What is up, everybody? We are live. It is noon on Thursday. It is a gorgeous day, a beautiful day in Lakewood Ranch. I'm so excited. Of course, I'm here doing my live stream. As you can see, I am doing it solo. Jessica is not with us today. She had a last minute opportunity and she could not pass it up. So ironically, it's a topic that she is an expert at, which is buying a home in 2025. So I'm going to do my best to share the information and hope you enjoy it and appreciate it. Do me a favor, drop a comment down below. Let us know where you are watching from, what kind of questions you have, what kind of comments do you want to hear. We're always intrigued to find out where people are watching from. Are you watching here from Lakewood Ranch? Are you watching from Florida? Are you watching from somewhere where it is just freezing cold? Because I'm going to tell you, it's going to be about 80 degrees today. Although it was cold this morning. I did my walk as I usually do every morning, and I'm on long pair of sweatpants and a hoodie and a shirt because it was so dang cold. So we're going to be talking about buying a home in 2025. I know that seems crazy, right? Who's buying homes nowadays, right? Interest rates are hovering around 6.7%. But guess what? People buy homes and sell homes every single solitary day. So going to give you a little insight of what's happening. But I'm sure if you are like most people, you're saying to yourself, man, I'm going to wait for the market to crash. Been hearing that since 2020. I'm going to wait for interest rates to get back to 3%. Not likely going to happen anytime soon. And if I was a betting man, I'm going to guess that's probably not going to happen again in my lifetime. By all indications, it is only politicians who are saying interest rates are going to get to below 5%, because nobody I've seen in the industry is talking about interest rates getting down to fives. I've heard some people talk about getting to the high fives, maybe by the end of the fourth quarter. We're going to talk about that. I have an interesting article that just came out because obviously the Fed got together, made a decision about rates. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit too. But this is my favorite thing. And of course, take this sarcasm with a grain of salt, but we know that a lot of people who are thinking about buying get their advice from their friends, brothers, next door neighbors, sister-in-law, who saw something on the internet that said, you should not buy right now. You should wait because the market's going to crash and prices are going to drop by 50%. Show of hands. Heard somebody say that one? Yeah, I stuck up my burn here. And I burned myself like a month ago, and I usually heal really quick. I mean, if you know my story, I was in the restaurant business for 15 plus years before getting into real estate. I have hundreds of burns and you can't see any of them, but that one just stuck with me. It was a really sensitive spot, took forever to heal, and I'm not sure it's going to heal any more than that. Anyway, I digress, but I'm sure you've heard that, right? Don't buy, market's going to crash. Now, there's no question that the market is absolutely positively shifting. We are definitely seeing homes that are sitting on the market much longer than they have been. We are seeing sellers do significant amounts of price adjustments. We are seeing properties expiring, meaning failing to sell. And I think that number in the last 30 days topped 3,300. 3,300 properties in our multiple listing service failed to sell. And to be honest, there's only one reason that a home fails to sell, and that is the price, regardless of what you hear, because a home will sell for the right price, no matter what their situation is. So for a property to expire, it is always the price. Now, of course, it has to show well. It has to be in great condition. It has to be marketed well. But assuming all those factors are in place, yeah, so those numbers of expireds are changing too. So I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in the real estate market. Some seller opportunities, some buyer opportunities. We're talking about the interest rates. So the statistics for next month, which I can't believe that the Real Estate Association of Sarasota Manatee gets the statistics out so late, because today is, what is today? Today's the 20th. Today's the 20th. Today is the 20th, and the stats are not out. So I've got the previous month's stats, and I'm going to guess, if I'm a betting man, that the numbers will be even more challenging for February. So these are the past month's statistics, and I think it's important to go over them so you know what's happening. Now, this is specifically for Manatee County, the county that we're in, the county that the vast majority of resale homes in Lakewood Ranch are. And single family homes. So the median sale price and the average sale price both have dropped. In fact, they are down. The median sale price is down 8.6% over the same time last year, and the average sale price is down 10%. I'm going to gather that when the stats come out, they should probably come out in the next like 2 to 5 days. I think those numbers are going to be down significantly because we're seeing just a ton of price adjustments all across the board at every price point, because homes are just sitting. The list price to sell price, what it was originally listed for, what it eventually sold for, that number is actually now down to 94.7% of the asking price. So you list a house for $100,000. On average, it's going to sell for $94,700. That's how that number works. You can do the math on whatever price you are selling your house at or thinking about selling your house at. But these are the numbers that are definitely creeping up. And it made the news the other day. And I'm sure when the stats come out for this next month, they're going to be even higher. And those are the days on the market. From the time it was listed, how many days did it take to go into escrow, go pending? And that number is 49 days now, which is up 40% over the same time last year. And then median time to sell, how long start to finish from the time it was listed for sale to the time it actually sold, is now up over 98 days. And that number is up 14% over the same time last year. Pending sales are down. New listings are up 8.5%. And what we're seeing by all indications, not just in Lakewood Ranch, not just in Manatee County, not just in Sarasota County, but certainly across the state of Florida, is that there's indication that the real estate market is obviously coming down. The stats show that. So sellers are trying to get their house on the market before the market, I don't want to say tanks, but comes down less than 10%, right? The average sale price is already down 10% and we're trending to be further than that. Sellers are trying to get their house on the market, which is creating even more inventory. In fact, our month's supply of inventory is up almost 18%. It's up to 4.6 months. So what does that mean? That means that if no other houses got listed for sale, it would take us 4.6 months to sell all that. Now, during the peak of things, that was down to like weeks. Homes were on the markets for, there was enough inventory for just a couple of weeks. So it is a massive issue in this area. Drop a comment down below if you got your house listed for sale or if you are a buyer thinking about buying a home. Are you seeing these same things wherever you live? The active listings actually are up 20.1%, 2,900 properties currently listed for sale. So all those are creating just a completely shifting market. So if you are a seller, here's what we're telling our sellers and potential sellers is that you have to price your home right. It's got to look fantastic, meaning buyers do not want to come in while interest rates are high and prices are high and then have to come in and do work. They'll do the work, but probably not for the price that you have your house currently listed for sale. So you got to price it right. And when it comes to pricing right, a couple things. One, you have to assume that your house is probably going to sit on the market longer than you expected because that's just the nature of the beast. Why? Because buyers now have a lot more options. Certainly in our area, you're competing with new construction, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, and then resale homes. And there are a lot of homes that are hitting the market. There are a lot of homes that are sitting on the market, which is causing a lot of competition. And when there's lots of competition, that means that buyers have options. So for your home, whether it's currently listed or soon to be listed, it's got to be marketed well, it's got to be priced well, and it's got to show well. So do any repairs because buyers don't want to come in and just do the repairs. And then when it comes to pricing, the honest truth, and as much as, it pains me to say it, and as much as, it is a piece of reality of where you're at now, you've got to price it at or below market value to compete in today's market. I mean, I just pulled up some statistics for a friend of ours wanted some advice. They have it listed for sale with a friend of theirs, which is why they did not list it with us. That's okay. I don't take it personal. And I wanted to give kind of some generic advice to them. When I pulled up the statistics for their neighborhood, in my personal opinion, they were priced pretty well, but the competition was fierce. So I didn't drill down and doing an analysis of what I thought of the other properties. But all things being equal, they were kind of like listed for sale in a pretty decent price. My advice to them, without stepping on their current real estate agents' toes was probably to adjust the price. So it looks like just a much better value, because based on the information that I saw from my friend and their neighborhood, um, in that price point that they were at, and without giving out too much details, they were kind of in like the $700,000 range, but there were probably like 6 or 7 other homes kind of like in and around that same price point, maybe 25,000 below, right? 675 to maybe 725. So, um, generally speaking, if you're approved for $700,000, you're probably looking in that range. So my advice, and it's the same advice we're giving our sellers, be the best value, because the last thing you want is to help sell another home. And you do that by overpricing your home. Talked about that enough. I have no intentions of drilling down and talking about that again. But I did want to share my screen really quick and talk about some of the builder incentives that are happening here, specifically in Lakewood Ranch. Why can't I? Oh, there we go. Share my screen. Builder incentives. Okay, so in Lakewood Ranch, we have about 20 plus neighborhoods currently building new construction. That is tough to compete with if you are selling a resale home. We always tell our sellers that you cannot compete, because if you're looking for new construction, you're looking for new construction. Meaning you probably have the time to wait 12, 15, 18 months for the house to be built. You maybe want to pick out your own finishes, pick out your own lots, et cetera, et cetera. So for those of you who are on the sideline about buying a place, buying new construction may be a great option. Why? Because the incentives that they are offering are just ridiculous. Now, these are some of the conversations we're having with some of our clients who are selling their homes, and not that we can compete, but they should know who they're up against. So builders have an obligation to build. Just because the economy is slowing, just because the housing market is slowing, does not mean that the builders just like take a break and not build. They have certain time frames that they have to build out their neighborhood. So they're spending a lot of money, right? They're paying their labor, they're paying your utilities, they're buying the supplies, and they are still building. So there are some phenomenal, and I mean some phenomenal builder incentives. So before I go through any of these, here's what I want to tell you. With new construction, if you happen to ever go into a model home or to the visitor center on Main Street in Lakewood Ranch, let's talk about model home. When you go to a model home, there's usually always a sales associate there, right? They're the ones who can answer your questions. They work for and represent the seller, which in this case is the builder. You are not saving on the price of that home by not using a real estate agent. And at the time of this recording, home builders are still paying buyer agent compensation. So I will be sure to put Jessica's information down below. She is the buyer specialist on our team. She works exclusively with buyers. She is a rock star real estate agent, and she can certainly help you. So if you go into a model home, if you go into the Lakewood Ranch Visitor Center, which is on Main Street, do us a favor, just register us as your real estate agent. It's not going to cost you any extra money out of pocket. The builders are still paying our compensation. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see AR Homes, Arthur Ruttenberg is offering some deals in Wild Blue. They're offering some in Star Farms. D.R. Horton has some deals in Star Farms. D.R. Horton has some in Solera. David Weekley at Emerald Landing. By the way, Jessica and I did a video home tour there yesterday. It's probably going to be a couple weeks before that's out. We have a few other ones in the pipeline. But man, I really like that community. It is right on Kingfisher Lake. They have single-family homes. They have 2-story townhomes. They have 3-story townhomes. And even though I've been in there before too, you know what I realized yesterday? They have elevators in those 2-story, 3-story ones, or 3-story ones. Pretty cool. Del Webb Catalina, which is the new 55 plus community, is offering fantastic incentives. Dream Finder Homes in Waterside at Bungalow Walk, another really cool, unique neighborhood. They're offering some fantastic deals. Homes by Town in Waterside is offering deals in Shellstone. Homes by Town in Waterside is offering deals in Lake House Cove. Homes by West Bay at Star Farms is offering deals. MI Homes in Nautique and Sweetwater, Neil Communities in Windward, Neil Signature Homes at the Alcove are all offering deals. That is just ridiculous. And those are just the ones who are choosing to advertise their deals on the lakewoodranch.com website I'll be sure to put the links in the description down below. But I wanted to share this one with you. Quite honestly, if we buy new construction, and we're not sure if we're going to ever buy new construction, but the homes by West Bay in Star Farms, we absolutely positively love the homes there. I think they have 3 models there. This one might be the one I'm talking about, but look at this incentive that they are offering. So they call it Your Home, Your Way, up to 6% in bonus cash. Man, that's such a good deal. Enjoy up to 6% in bonus cash. I'm sorry, looking at my side screen here. That you can apply toward the Home Design Center for your closing costs, to buy down your rates, or on the overall price of the home, which you rarely ever see. So that is just unbelievable, the deals that they are offering. So if you are thinking about buying a home and it is not a resale home, we should talk. Jessica's contact information is going to be down below. But here's what you should do if you were thinking about buying. Obviously, call Jessica first. She's going to get you in touch. And by the way, when you call Jessica, you can do a phone call, you can do a Zoom call, whatever's going to work for you. We always like to do a Zoom call because we can put a face with a name. She's going to get you in touch with a lender, preferably a local lender. We have a handful that we like to refer business to. They're just ones that we know are skilled and talented, have great communication, and they can get the job done and get you to closing tables. So one of the things we always like to talk about too is hoping and wishing not being a strategy. We like to take a little more proactive approach. And what do we mean by that one, right? Hoping is not a strategy. Wishing is not a strategy. Hoping the real estate market crashes, not a strategy. Hoping that interest rates dropped at 3%, not a strategy, not a great plan. Talk to Jessica. We'll get you at least a plan in place. And whether that's buying a home in 3 weeks or buying a home in 3 years, let's at least have a conversation and get the ball rolling. All right, I got a couple other articles I want to share with you that I think you'll find of great value. First, let's talk really quick about the feds. I'm not going to delve into this all that deep, but I definitely wanted to do talk about it because people get confused with the Federal Reserve cutting rates and how they affect mortgage rates. So when they're cutting rates, they're not cutting mortgage rates. They're not cutting mortgage rates specifically. Now, the rates that they cut may have an impact on the mortgage rates. But I thought I'd read some of this to you just to kind of give you some clarification. So they did just have a meeting. Today's the 20th, so 2 days ago, the 18th and the 19th. They voted to hold its benchmark interest rate at its current rate, which is 4.25 to 4.5%, in the second meeting in a row in which the Fed declined to change the federal fund rate after making rate cuts at 3 consecutive meetings at the end of 2024. They also released its economic projections for the year. You don't have to like it. You don't have to believe it. That is their projections. I'm going to go with what they say. So the statement indicates more concern about a weaker economic growth, but its outlook for the federal fund target is unchanged, and it made no change to the rate target at this meeting. We aren't in a hurry to adjust our policy stance, and we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity. That's what the federal chair, Jerome Powell, said. While fielding questions on tariffs, price stability, the possibility of a recession, and more, Powell reiterated that the Fed is focused on 2 goals: keeping inflation and unemployment low. Keeping inflation low and unemployment low. So in this low firing and low hiring labor market with continued inflation, the Fed finds itself in a tough position. As of now, it's opting for a wait and see approach. So what does this mean for mortgage rates? They're predicting still 6.5 to 7% in the near term. So how does the Fed rate pause affect mortgages? So let's talk about that a little bit too. So the Federal Reserve sets borrowing costs for shorter term loans by changing its federal funds rate. I know this is kind of boring, but it's important to know. This rate dictates how much banks pay each other in interest to borrow funds from their reserves. So kept at the federal. While this rate isn't the same as the rate you'll pay for the mortgage, they are related. As the cost for banks to borrow increases or decreases, the cost for you to borrow tends to follow suit. Make sense? What else was I talking about? Oh yeah. So how the Fed affects adjustable rate. Oh no, I don't want to talk about that one. There was something else that I wanted to talk about in this article. No, that's okay. I'm not gonna continue on that conversation, but you can understand how that works. Um, so drop a comment down below. Are you somebody who's kind of like just sitting on the sideline, kind of waiting and hoping that something else happens? Or are you somebody who's willing to take a proactive approach and potentially get your house before the competition gets insane? Because I think we're expecting that too. I think this year, 2025, is going to probably be just as much of a struggle as it was in 2024, where there's not a whole lot of real estate transactions. There's not a whole lot of buyers buying home. There's a ton of sellers selling homes, but I think what's going to happen eventually is probably in 2026, hopefully even by the end of 2025, although I'm not confident that interest rates will get closer in the fives, but we keep hearing that that magic number is kind of like 5.8%. 5.8% is where homeowners who have interest rates in the 3s and 4% will feel much more comfortable selling their home, giving up that 3 and 4% interest rates to buy a home at an interest rate in the fives. We also hear that that is the number that buyers are hoping and waiting and wishing for. Again, I'm not expecting that to happen soon, but that's the number that they feel a little more comfortable with buying a home. But here's what I think just about everybody in the industry is expecting. If and when interest rates do get into the 5%, whether that is in 2025 or 2026, there's probably going to be a big rush of people to sell their homes, right? Because we know that there are a lot of homeowners who kind of feel trapped in their house solely because of their interest rates, right? They want to sell, but they just don't want to trade that 3 or 4% mortgage rate for something in the 6s or even the 7s. So they're hanging tight. And then buyers are waiting also. But when those drop into the 5% range, more buyers are going to come into the marketplace because now they're ready to buy. They feel more comfortable. And what happens when there's more competition from buyers? When there's more competition from buyers, that tends to jack prices up. Why? Because now buyers are competing and buyers get to be a little more particular. Anyway, be a little more proactive, a little more reactive. I got another article that I wanted to share that kind of was in line with a video I did the other day about Canadians selling their properties. Now, I'm not going to talk about that in this video because I got a full video coming up talking about Canadians selling their properties, certainly in the United States, but definitely in Florida. But this one is specifically about snowbirds. A lot of Canadians are obviously snowbirds, come here down during season, right? December to April, Christmas to Easter is what they kind of say. But snowbirds, take notice. Inventory and deals are piling up in Florida with buyers scoring deep discounts as a glut of homes remain unsold. It's kind of what we were just talking about. There are homes that are just sitting on the market, which I know is not great for sellers. We have sellers in that position right now. But if you're a buyer, there are opportunities to get a great deal, relatively speaking. Are prices still high? Prices are still high in Florida. But in comparison, you can get a good deal. I talked to you about the incentives that new construction is offering. A lot of sellers are offering some of those incentives now. We have some properties with some great incentives. Confident that those properties are going to sell. Just have to find the right buyers. Okay, so if moving to Florida in the winter appeals to you, as it does thousands of snowbirds from colder climates, now is a good time to snag a deal as inventory piles and sellers get desperate. According to Realtor.com, inventory has hit record highs for 2 months in a row. Orlando and Cape Coral saw 43.8 and 42.7 surges in available homes, respectively. That's almost like, it's close to twice as many homes listed for sale. Miami isn't far behind with an increase of 39.2%. For sale home supply has climbed annually in the state since May of 2022, but only exceeded pre-pandemic levels since mid-2024. High home prices and mortgage rates have stifled demand in the state, leading to a buildup of home inventory. Although the entire state has experienced a sizable 33.1% increase in inventory, certain cities have seen the listing swell significantly with distinct patterns forming. 2 Gulf cities are particularly prime for buyers looking to scoop up deals. Now, I saw this article. I was surprised, but I was not really surprised because this is Yahoo Finance. This is not a Florida news source, right? This is Yahoo Finance. Home shoppers in Bradenton and Sarasota are in for a treat with climbing inventory, falling prices, and longer time on the market. Buyers are likely to find more seller flexibility as homeowners aim to attract buyer attention. Bradenton. Let's talk about Bradenton real quick. It's super confusing because Bradenton is actually in-ish Lakewood Ranch. It's super confusing. Like you can have a house in Bradenton in Lakewood Ranch, and you can have a neighbor across the way in Lakewood Ranch with a Bradenton address. It's super confusing. So when I think Bradenton, I kind of think, no, Bradenton goes all the way down to the ocean, 20 miles to the west. But when I'm reading this, I'm thinking specifically about Lakewood Ranch, even though this is not specifically Lakewood Ranch. I know it's confusing. It confuses the heck out of me, and I'm a real estate agent. So Bradenton, a small city of 57,000 people, that is not including Lakewood Ranch. That is a separate statistic. Has long been a favorite for snowbirds because of its proximity to Tampa and Sarasota. Realtor.com reports that housing prices have been declining since March of 2023. The previous year in June, the median list price peaked at about $549,000. In January, the median price was down over $100,000 to $432,000. Homes lingered on the market for 67 days, three more than a year ago. The number of for sale listings has increased from 1,900 from 1,600 in January because of the pandemic. And then in Sarasota, not even any better. According to Realtor.com, Sarasota experienced a dramatic monthly drop from November 23 to January, falling to a median list price of $575 from $725. That is massive. Houses stayed on the longer there too. Florida is being hit with the perfect storm of factors affecting housing market. Firstly, issues plaguing buyers nationwide. Higher interest rates make it hard to justify buying a home if it means giving up a lower rate elsewhere. We talked about that. Florida is also grappling with soaring home insurance, which is up more than 40% in some parts of the states, and increased condo homeowners association fees following Hurricane Milton and Hurricane Helene. I have done videos on that. I'm about to do another one, so stay tuned. Hey, by the way, this might be a good time too if you like to see information about Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota Manatee County. Do me a favor, subscribe to this channel and hit that like button. And drop a comment down below because we do want to know where you are watching from. Okay, really quickly. So we're going to talk about active listings at a record high. Redfin data shows active listings at a record high in 8 of Florida's 31 metropolitan areas. You can see that Sarasota is on there. I'm not going to go through all the other ones, but it does mention a housing crisis. The turnaround from the lack of inventory and post-pandemic bidding wars has been profound. Some sellers dropping their prices by up to 40%. Let me say that again. Some sellers are dropping their prices by up to 40%. Florida home builders are proactive about moving unsold inventory. We just talked about that, offering big buyer incentives, such as extras like mortgage rate buy downs, construction upgrades. And that can mean giving the buyer 10% of additions or $50,000 of extras on a $500,000 home in Florida. So when I talk about resale home owners having a difficult time competing with these incentives to get a brand new house, it is a challenge for sure. And it's a conversation that we're definitely having with our sellers. But that's just the reality of the market that we're in. That is the reality of the market that we are going to be in 2025. And it is highly likely, my gut is telling me that it will be that way into 2026. All right, so that's all I'm going to talk about on that one. I know that was doom and gloom. I know that is just scary stuff. And, I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but if you know anything about myself and Jessica, we are always honestly and respectfully truthful. Even if that means telling you things that you don't want to hear. We know that there are real estate agents right now desperate for business who will tell you whatever it is that you want to hear. And if it's homeowners, that means sometimes not telling you the truth about what it's going to take. I saw a house get listed for sale today, and I'm not going to be too specific about it, but there is no question it is about $250,000 higher than it needs to be. It's probably more than that one, but at absolutely minimum, I think it is about $250,000 higher than the next similar home. And again, I know from my standpoint, if I am, well, this is going to be Jessica, showing homes to buyers, I'm certainly going to show that home first. And here's how that conversation is going to go. Mr. Buyer, if you love this house listed for blah, blah, blah number, let me show you this other house right down the street that is the same square footage with the same upgrades, but that one's $250,000 less. Which property do you think that buyer is going to buy? The one that costs $250,000 more, or the other one that is a better value? That's what I'm hoping for. Anyway, that's a comment. Anyway. All right. So enough doom and gloom. I like to end these live streams with something a little more positive, because there are a lot of cool things that are happening in Lakewood Ranch over the course of this next week. So I thought I'd share those with you. And some of them are the typical ones, like there is the Sunday Farmers Market, which happens every Sunday at Waterside Place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get there early because parking is crazy. There is live music. There are food vendors. There are local artisans that you can get fruits, you can get veggies. I buy my cigars there. There's a guy who sells Honduras cigars. We buy our fruits and our vegetables there. We buy local honey from the guy from Mayaca City. If you go there, buy his honey. Honey is awesome. We buy them. I think they're 2 for $20. I don't know. They're awesome. There's a guy from Brooklyn Kanish. Spot on. There's live music. The scenery is awesome. The restaurants there are cool. There is Sunday yoga in the park, which also happens at Waterside Place. If you like doing yoga, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Sunday. There is Sunday polo at the Sarasota Polo Club. If you have never done the polo, you should absolutely positively do that. I think doors open at 10 or gates open at 10 or 10:30. The match starts at 1 o'clock. You should absolutely positively go. So those are happening every Sunday, but there was 2 other ones that are specific to this weekend, and that is local shopping. The local shopping market on Main Street, which is the other downtown in Lakewood Ranch. Over 70 vendors. That is Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Go check that out. You know, we're always big advocates of supporting the local community and local vendors. Go check them out. And then this one is cool too. I'm not going to do it, but I know other people who have done it before, and that is Blissful Goat Yoga. That is happening at Waterside Place at Good Liquid Brewing. I don't think it's happening in the brewery, but somewhere in and around there. Yes, I did say goat. Goat. That is Saturday, the 22nd from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Waterside Place. You should definitely go check that out. I will put a link in the description down below to the Lakewood Ranch website that has all of these events. You should definitely go check it out. Hey, by the way, might be a good time too. We have 2 YouTube channels. The one you're currently watching, which is 941 Lifestyle Group. We have a second channel, which is nothing but home tours. That is 941 Premier Home Tours. That is Jessica and I just doing home tours. A lot of these are model homes. Some of them are our listings. Some of them are other real estate agents' listings. They know we do a great job of marketing, which if you're thinking about selling your home, we do a phenomenal job of marketing. We should definitely talk. But feel free to check out that channel too. If you like, HGTV and Bravo TV, $1 Million Listing, you should definitely go check out that channel. Our contact information is going to be in the description down below. That is our website, the 941 Lifestyle Group. Definitely subscribe to the channels. We appreciate you guys watching. We know sometimes noon is hit or miss. So if you are watching live, we appreciate you watching live. If you are catching the replay, drop those comments down below too, because we will definitely get back to you on those. And they might become topics for other live stream topics down the road. So appreciate you guys watching. Jessica will be back next week. Her contact information is going to be down below. If you're thinking about buying, if you're thinking about selling, my contact information is down below. And